Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. And now, celebrating 15 years of broadcasting, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, with you tuning in on the radio dial here in Mississippi at WYAD 94.1 FM. We welcome you. Also, those joining us through WPBQ 94.3 FM on the radio dial as well. We're glad you all could be with us. And we can't forget our online audience, including those joining us through iHeartRadio. We're glad you all could join us, too. We're excited to welcome Lester Greene to our program today. Now, I actually got a chance to know Lester first as an actor, but this year he added a new title to his name, that being author. His book is called Act Like You Love Yourself. I had a chance to read the book for myself. We're going to talk to Lester not only about the journey of writing this book, but also living his life, the lessons he's been able to learn, and what he hopes you're able to realize is possible for you as well. Lester, hello to you, and welcome to the program.
Hey, Cyrus. How you doing? Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, man, appreciate the time. Glad to have you on with us. You know, it was really funny. I had initially reached out to you, Lester, if you remember, thanks to Instagram, which I think, everyone, I think, is using that platform these days. And, reached out to you about your being a guest. You had mentioned, you'd love to, but you had a book, that was going to be coming out later. And now that book is here, and that book is Act Like You Love Yourself. People have gotten to know you, Lester, as an actor, seeing you bring characters to life. But what has it been like for them to let them know the man behind the characters?
Oh, okay. So what I do right now is I'm a New York City bus driver, and I've been doing that for about 10 years now, believe it or not. And from working as a bus driver, I'm able to support my passion for acting and writing. So a lot of times actors will get a job where it's not stable and they're not able to make a consistent income. And so because of that, their craft suffers because they can't afford to invest in themselves. So I always stress the importance of getting a really good, stable job and then using that income to support your talents.
Yeah. So when you wrote this book, though, Lester, Act Like You Love Yourself, did you know that you were going to want to kind of let us behind the curtain, as it were, and to let us know what the journey is like for you, to not only, of course, to go after roles, but also, of course, to be able to pursue your goals and your dreams?
Yeah, well, the ultimate goal for writing the book is to help other people along in their journey. I didn't do it to become famous. I didn't do it to get rich or to make a lot of money. I think it's just about sharing my experiences as an actor so that other upcoming actors and just people in general can learn from my experiences. So it's always about giving back. Yeah.
And I thought, too, the other interesting thing that I did not know about you, Lester, that I think our audience may find this interesting as well, which is why I'm bringing it up, is that you initially thought when you were going into acting that reality television was the way to go. I mean, talk to us about that. When I was reading that, Lester, I thought, that's something interesting. I mean, so what? I mean, was it because of the popularity, or what is it about reality TV that you thought would be that ticket for you?
Well, right. Well, I used to watch a show called The Real World, and I always wanted to be on it. And there's another show called Big Brother, I believe. I don't know if you're familiar with those shows.
Yeah.
And I would just see those contestants and those people on those shows get famous, if you will. And so I just had that dream that, okay, if I could get my hands on something like that, or if I could get cast in a reality show, then maybe I can reach superstardom. And that's clearly not the case. Sometimes it happens for people, and most times it just doesn't. That's just not the reality of it. You really just have to put in the work and work hard. So that was a quick lesson for me.
Yeah. I think the idea of fame, the idea of success, it seems like it's changed for you, Lester, because I as I said, I follow you on Instagram. It's very obvious that you're passionate about what you do. I mean, do you think that you've kind of realized that the real success, so to speak, is in doing work that you love?
Oh, you took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say the same thing. It's all about doing the work and doing what you love. I think a lot of times people just get caught up in the bright lights. And I think if you're doing it for that reason, then you're probably not going to be very successful. I think at the end of the day, it's about fulfilling your own personal hunger. And so that's why I'm always creating my own projects we just completed this short film called I Got a Callback. I produced it, and I started it, and it already got accepted to about 3 or 4 festivals. And so that just makes me happy doing that kind of work, not necessarily shooting a major motion picture. That would be great, but at the end of the day, if that doesn't happen, I can't just sit around and not do anything. I have to continue to feed my talent. And so that's why I'm always creating my own projects.
Right. And I think, too, surrounding yourself with the right people. You mentioned that in the book, Act Like You Love Yourself, Lester. And, I think that is one of those big things for me as well. I tell people all the time that, you are the company that you keep, and that becomes so true, whether it's positive or negative. How important has that fact been for you in realizing that you have to surround yourself with people who are going to push you forward and not hold you back?
Oh, it's so important. My friend Antoine Allen, who was a director, I met him, and it seemed like the doors just opened up. He really exposed me to just creating my own path, creating my own work. And so we worked on about 4, 5, 6 short films, and now I'm getting ready to create my own feature film. So having Antoine Allen and people like Rondell Maddox and Eugene Walker, those guys just pushed me to better myself. And I don't think you need to have a huge team. I think a lot of times people think, if I have 30 people on my team, then there's no way I can lose. I think if you have 2 or 3 solid people, I think that's enough. You don't necessarily need a whole army of people to be successful.
Totally agree. Antoine's a friend of mine as well, Lester, and I think you're exactly right. I mean, he's definitely someone who is passionate. We had a chance to actually interview him for our web series, Cyrus Web Presents, in Los Angeles when he was visiting there. And, so it's a very small world. It is, I didn't know you someone else, John Torres is a friend of mine. I know that we have him as a mutual friend as well. He's been a guest on our program here as well. So it's I think and I think there's a reason for that, right, Lester? I mean, there's a reason why I know some of these people, and you are friends with these people because again they're good people, and you can tell the forward movement that is taking place with those people, and that says so much. So you have gotten personal even on, let's just say, Instagram. You have shared with us the behind the scenes of this. How has social media helped you in not only sharing your craft but also sharing your story?
Well, I wasn't really a huge fan of just social media in general. I just don't think that some people use it the right way. Sometimes people will get a little too personal and put a little too much information out there. So I think it's okay as long as you find that balance in terms of what to post and what not to post. So I have found that it's been very beneficial in terms of just marketing my book, marketing my craft. And I've met so many people online, really good people. I never met them in person, but they're huge supporters of me, and I met them through social media. So I don't frown upon it anymore. I know in the book I mentioned that I wasn't a huge fan of social media or Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, but now I'm realizing that it has some benefits. I think you just have to use it correctly. You just have to be responsible with it. Yeah.
Yes, I totally agree with that, man. I totally agree. We're going to talk more about that as we go on. I want to say, for those who are just tuning in, either on the radio side or online, you're listening to Conversations Live. We're having a great conversation today with actor and author Lester Greene. He's the author of the book called Act Like You Love Yourself. He also has some great projects that are going on. We'll remind you then of our segment, how you can stay connected with him. There's something that you mentioned in the book in Chapter 5 when you were talking about auditioning, Lester, that I think is a great lesson for us in life. And one of the things that you said is to always show up. I thought it was so interesting, because I think in life that's what we have to do. How has that helped you to show up in life ready for life?
Well, I feel like when you walk into an audition room or when you're walking down the street, there's a certain energy that you should carry. There's a certain mindset that you should keep. And I usually always try to be positive, no matter what's happening in my life. Obviously, things aren't going to always be perfect and fine, but I think it's all about the attitude that you keep. I think if you can keep that positive attitude, then you can do wonders. And so every time I walk into the audition room, even if I hadn't booked my last 10 roles, I'm still going in there as if this is the first audition that I have, and I just believe that it's going to be mine. And 9 out of 10 times, I might not get it, but there's always that chance. And I think it's important to just be present and show up. That's all I can say about that. I think if you don't give yourself a chance, if you don't show up at all, then you have no chance, right? So
right. Yeah. I totally agree. Totally agree. And I think that, again, is the big thing, too, for all of us. So have you gotten used to the idea, Lester? Because as I mentioned, it's one thing for you to be known for a character. But now, again, through this book, Act Like You Love Yourself, you are literally front and center on the book as a subject of the book. I mean, what has that experience been like for you, for people to recognize you now as an author?
Well, I think it's nice. I feel like as people, we have different layers, right? So it's nice for me to show this other side of me as an author or as a bus driver. Sometimes people get caught up with just the actor, and they say, oh, that's how he is in real life. That must be all he does or all he knows. So it's nice to actually step out of that realm, step out of that box, and just to show people a different side of me. Because at the end of the day, we all have different layers, right? I'm sure you read, I'm sure you write, I'm sure you do. You have so many other talents. And so for me, it's just a matter of getting it out and sharing it with the world.
Right. Have you gotten used to the idea of being an example for other people? That's one of the things that I took from this book as well, that as you have learned to show up camera ready, to show up in life, that you have now become a person who can show other people the importance of doing that in their own life.
No, that's such a great point. I recently went to this festival that my film, I Got a Call Back, by Chris Fox, got into, right? It's called the Variety International Film Festival. And it's a festival for kids, young filmmakers. I'm talking about maybe 8, 9, 10 years old. So I show up at this festival, and I'm thinking it's like some kind of recess session. And sure enough, all these little kids produced these short films, and they were all really good. And so I was inspired by that. I went up there and I gave my little speech and I introduced my film, and I just thanked the students for inspiring me. It was almost like I was talking to them as if they were my peers. So it was nice to just talk to them human to human. And so I'm getting used to doing that more often, going up there and talking and going to festivals and meeting different people and networking with different people as myself. So this book is really bringing me out of my shell, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, and I think that is the cool thing about it as well. Now, the title itself, of course, there's a lot of play there. Act like you love yourself. It's really something, because I think in the world we live in today, as you know, Lester, we see so many people that are hurting, so many people that are going through things. Of course, we just lost 2 influential individuals to suicide. So many others, of course, fall victim to suicide that we don't even hear about. How important has loving yourself and believing in yourself, how important has that been for you?
Well, I've always been a very confident person. Growing up, I always played sports. I was always really good at it. So I didn't really have a lot of self-esteem issues. But as you get older and you evolve, of course, you start to second-guess yourself, or you might second-guess some decisions that you make. And so I just find that you just have to kind of own it. You have to just accept yourself for who you are, accept your flaws. Nobody's perfect. And just keep a positive mindset. Like I said before, I really just love the idea that I can walk down the street with my head up and just feel proud of who I am and what I'm becoming. Yeah.
And what a great thing. And then, of course, what you're showing other people what they can do as well. Again, the book is called Act Like You Love Yourself. The author is Lester Greene, who's also a talented actor as well. Another point that I want to bring out in the book is something that we alluded to earlier, Lester, and that is the idea of success. I think, for so many people, as they kind of think about it, and you write about this in Chapter 15, I think, regardless of one of the things that you've been able to do is to realize that to make the most of every situation, right? I mean, you give the example of, doing background jobs. But the thing is, you got a job. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you were able to do that. How important has perspective been for you when you kind of think about success today?
Well, I think it's just so important to not necessarily go in with huge, unrealistic expectations, right? I think you just need to go in there with an open mind, of course, and just realize that everything might not happen according to how you wrote it up. That's just life in general. I think people will have these ideas or these blocks that they'll say, okay, this is what I'm going to do, this is going to happen, then I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do that. And 9 out of 10 times, that doesn't work. It doesn't work out that way. So I think it's just healthy to keep an open mind and be flexible, be willing to change your path, be willing to make a left turn instead of making a right turn. So that's how I approach my life. I don't really go in with these unrealistic expectations. It's just, I don't think it's healthy. But at the same token, I do set the bar high. I think it's important to set goals, ambitious goals, so that you can strive to reach them. So it's just about finding that balance.
Yeah. You know, one of the things you also mentioned, of course, with everything, there's not going to be honest individuals that come your way. You're going to have those situations where you're duped. You address it as scamming in the book. Lester, I think, I want to ask you this question in a different vein, kind of tying in with the conversation we're having here, because I think there will be, individuals who out there, our audience knows this, who might be burned by individuals, may feel disappointed by the actions of others. Mm-hmm. How have you not allowed that to stop you?
I think it's the main reason why I'm able to keep going through adversity is because I love what I do. I love acting. I love being an actor. I love producing projects. And so that love is still there. I always tell people, don't let that fire burn out. I think it's important to just stay passionate about what you love doing. And once you do that, I think things will start to fall into place. So that's how I maintain my focus, just having that love and true passion for what I do.
Right. And that true passion is something that definitely comes through. Again, everyone, Lester Greene has been our guest. Great conversation with you, Lester. We've been discussing with him his book, Act Like You Love Yourself, how he's been able to take the lessons he's learned with acting, apply them in life, and now to be able to share them with all of us. So, Lester, let our audience know. I mentioned the book's available through our friends at Amazon.com. Right. That's where I bought it from. So we definitely invite our audience to get it from there, either in print or the Kindle edition. How can they stay connected with you?
All they have to do is go to LesterGreene.com. That's LesterGreene.com, and they can follow me through there. I have all my social media applications on my website.
Okay. So make sure you'll definitely stay connected with Lester. Lester, congratulations to you on the book. Really appreciate the time, and
thank you.
Looking forward to our next conversation together, man.
Thank you so much, Cyrus. I appreciate it. Much success.
Hey, thank you. Same to you, man. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying, as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Make sure you take out time to enjoy some good music as well as a great book. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. You all make it a great day.